Are we okay? We got the fucking... We've got to do the fucking shit that we for fucking drug abuse. No! Are you listening?
I figured I would do something different today. Sean here. I have another story. Holy crap. We've all seen Lorne dance on the Blue Boy videos. We've all seen Elaine on Seinfeld do little kicks. When she gets out there on the dance floor to kick things off. Well, Mr. Penis, they had a school dance, not like a prom or a homecoming. In junior high, we used to call them sock hops. I don't know why. I think it was a carryover from the 60s and 70s, but we had stuff called sock hops. They had like a regular school dance, like most of you probably did. Mr. Penis shows up. Everyone else is in like regular clothes. He's in his Sunday best, which I'm pretty sure was jeans and a button-up. If you've seen him dance on the Blue... If you've seen him dance on the Blue Boy videos, apparently it's not far off. I'm still working on getting Hank. These videos have to do some good. He watched the Blue Boy He watched the Blue Boy videos. I had to stop laughing. And he said, well, he hasn't progressed very much. So Lorne Armstrong, the dancer, I'm so glad that's what it was, because we all predicted he has not progressed in anything in his life. Alright, moving on. I have a good friend of mine. When I was teaching martial arts, his family took from me and we just kind of became friends. We've probably been friends for about 21 years now. I let him listen to the Lorne calls because, hey man, he's a retired lieutenant and I wanted to get his opinion. The very first thing he said to me after the Wrecking Ball voicemails, after listening to the Winnie and Dan calls, and believe me, we listened to all of them, and yeah, it was funny in some parts, but he said there's no way a relationship with him doesn't end up with his hands around her throat or a knife in her chest. That's coming from him. Not from me, not from us, but from a retired lieutenant. And he was stone cold when he said it. Over the years, I've gotten past the funny, drunken, crying Lorne. We play those as palate cleansers. Think about that. Funny rage is some of the Dan rage. Some of that Dan rage is terrifying, but some of it is funny. The Wrecking Ball rage, none of it is funny. None at all. Whenever he loses it, especially about another guy, we get a look inside of his head. We get a feeling for what he's capable of. I mentioned Shins Koala and Andrew Burkett when they went up there and they talked about how Lorne looked. They talked about they would be afraid for a woman to be in his presence. I agree. When he found out about Kayla, he said, oh, she's not making it back home. Steve said, she's not making it back home. She never gets out of his apartment. I'm telling you, I'm talking to somebody who was on the police force for a long time. He made it up to lieutenant. He retired. This is a guy who's seen a lot of bad stuff. And here in Kentucky, we don't exactly have the best track record for domestic violence. Or incest, for that matter. I just think that with Lorne, we've seen some funny stuff. We've seen some scary stuff, but we've seen more scary stuff than funny. I wonder sometimes, I really do, about Kayla. And we've talked about this, and some of you guys have talked about it in the chat, that he would keep her prisoner. I do think that, and Steve also said something interesting. Two of you have said it in the comments. After I made a brief comment, some of you guys asked me this question. Do I think that Lorne had head trauma? Steve said he's seen this with criminals where they've had some kind of head trauma, where their rage just kind of takes over and they can't stop it. he agreed. He said, I don't know much about psychological issues, but there's something going on. And from what I described to him about what we've talked about, he said, yeah, that's definitely going on. He said, when you get a guy like that who can reach that level of sustained rage, when he can go from 0 to fuming in 10 seconds, and you have a woman there where he can actually reach out and touch her, she's going to be hurt, injured. And if he does have a brain injury, I explained to him what I knew about his past. I explained to him what I knew about his childhood, what he's told us and what really happened. I told him about his stepdad, and he asked me what I knew about the stepdad, and I said I don't really know. Lorne doesn't really talk to me, anybody about it, not me. Doesn't talk to anybody about it. He usually talks about his mom. He talks about his dad leaving. I told him about his weird fixation on his mom, and he thought his mom could be his shield. This is what he said. He doesn't know as much as we do, but he said his mom could be his shield. If his stepfather was not okay, mentally, or his behaviors, which we won't go into because you know some of the things that can happen when you have someone who is not blood living in the house with young girls or younger girls, and someone like Lorne who would definitely drive you insane. He wondered if the reason that Lorne is fixated on his mom is because she was a shield from all of this. I was raised by my mom. God, I hate that call so much. I let him listen to a few of the Ramona voicemails. There were the ones on Raptor Bacon's channel where they were called Psycho Ex-Boyfriend voicemails, where he's saying, you got a lot of explaining to do. But what concerned Steve and what concerned me the most, what concerned Steve, was how he would say what is really going on. Don't tell me how goddamn innocent you are and how the doctor's such a friend. That is behavior that concerns Steve, when whatever is probably going on is not good enough for him. Whenever he's telling her, don't tell me, he's basically saying, no matter what you say, I'm angry and I'm going to stay angry and you got a lot of explaining to do. That famous quote. He said, when a man tells a woman, you have a lot of explaining to do. We are at the point of domestic violence. We're at the point, and I told him about prison and how he had just gotten out, or not just gotten out, but he had gotten out of prison and there was a lot of anger, misplaced anger. He said, well, that misplaced anger is going on somebody he can reach out and touch. So I mentioned the fact that he pushed Tony Fama down, who was supposedly disabled, and who Lorne even admitted was disabled, and then complained that Tony was trying to do things like fix up his house, not mentioning that he was in pain. Lorne actually said his back pain was fake. So we know that Lorne, he doesn't believe anybody else, but if, Lorne calling Debbie, I got a spot on my hand, I might have skin cancer. When he makes such a big deal about a spot on his hand. We've all got spots on our body, Lorne. It happens. But the level of sustained rage, especially getting out and all that misplaced anger, he asked me if I knew anything about his prison stay. I said, yeah, he fed us a bunch of bullshit about befriending a gang member. He started laughing once he saw a picture of Lorne. He said the only way he would befriend a gang member is if he was doing sexual favors for him. So he said, I highly doubt that. I told him about the journals where Lorne is writing that he's beating everybody up. And I have a feeling a lot of the stuff he was talking about in his journals happened to him, that he was writing happened to others. Because everything Lorne does, he expects an audience. I'm sure he thought one day that his mom or somebody was gonna read these journals and go, wow, what a fucking badass, such a prison tough guy. We all remember the call where he's crying, I fucking hurt her, talking about Casey, where he spilled her secret, which later on we talked about he came up with an excuse for. But we know that he thought Casey was secretly hidden on three-way, and she was listening in. He was putting on that Academy Award-winning performance. And he would stop crying. Does she still have you on block? I fucking hurt her. He'd go right back into it. I know we all know that. And he wanted Winnie or Emma to go back and go, Casey, he was so broken up. He was destroyed. Please be easy on him. Everything he did had an audience. I told you he was a kid who would shake his wee-wee. And hearing the story about the dancing, I don't know if he was trying to be funny, because remember in these videos that he made for Jamie Amy that are on Blue Boy's channel, it looks like he's just trying to be funny or trying to have some fun. But you're still a horrible dancer, Lorne. The point is, Steve agreed, this guy needs an audience. And he needs an audience for his rage. That's why any woman in his presence is getting the full theatrical experience. His tears that would come immediately after he beat the crap out of a woman. All of this is stuff that a seasoned police officer, a former lieutenant, thought I was correct on, and that we were correct on. I have a major problem with anyone who doesn't think that Lorne could put his hands on a woman and take that extra step. Here is something Steve said. There's a 50-50 chance that Kayla's body would be found years later. He said, this guy seems like the kind of guy who makes a mistake, won't take responsibility for it, definitely doesn't want to get in trouble. He said there's a 50-50 chance that he would get her down there, do his business. It would not be good. It would not go well. She would refuse after the first time because she didn't like it. And he knew if she showed any signs that she was upset or unhappy, that she couldn't go back. Because he assumed she would tell her parents. I agree. And we talked about it in the Kayla video. And some of you guys have wondered the same thing. But I think that is exactly what would happen. I don't know what the fuck is going to happen. I just think that he's a danger, and having that former police officer, former police lieutenant confirm it for me, for us, that says a lot. Now he's going to go back and listen to some other voicemails and some other calls because he finds him fascinating just like we do. We just don't understand how he can't take responsibility, why he can't just get over it. The fake apology he did where he was looking so far to the right. When he heard the macaroni and cheese excuse, he said, oh yeah, this guy's gone. He has heard some weird confessions and some reasons that crimes were committed. People were shot over nothing. An argument over turkey at Thanksgiving. Just stupid stuff. So Lorne giving all this crap about mac and cheese, he said, oh, it's not surprising when you're dealing with somebody like him. But that's my video for today. I love you guys. I will see you in the next one.